Access to drugs is disturbingly easy. Young people obtain substances from peers, local pubs, street kiosks, and increasingly from on-campus dealers that operate discreetly. The rapid growth of online ordering and courier delivery systems now allow access with minimal human interactions, making enforcement and prevention more challenging. Ladies and gentlemen, the major drivers of drug use in schools are curiosity and experimentation, stress relief, peer influence, social pressure, feel-good factor, and enjoyment, academic pressure, social anxiety, emotional loneliness, depression, identity struggles, the desire to feel included, and confidence. 63% of our youth do not think that drugs boost academic performance. 50% believe they do, and 22% are unsure. A combined 85% who reject or are neutral about drug benefits suggest a chance to address this issue. 43% think drugs boost social confidence, while 37% disagree. 57% believe drug use helps manage stress, with 30% opposed to this notion. 44% say drugs improve sexual performance, but 32% do not. Urgent action is needed to address these perceptions. Substance abuse poses serious risk for all ages. Around 26% of first-time users are aged between 14 and 15. And let me repeat, 26% of first-time users of drugs are aged between 14 to 15. The chance of truancy, mental health issues, and long-term addiction, threatening the development of future generations. And I've always emphasized that when one person in your family starts abusing drugs, it is not just his problem anymore. It becomes a family disease that affects everybody. So we must all be a bit more concerned. It must be noted that 41% of first-time drug users are within the ages of 16 and 17 years. Substance abusers drug exposure at this stage has been observed to disrupt the transition into independence. The consequences may include early also leads to unemployment. Data also revealed that 8% of early drug users are 20 and above. So you realize that the data is bigger for the younger ages, but the more they grow, because they've already been exposed. Our school authorities are addressing these challenges with responsive measures. Research shows that 36% of academic institutions offer counseling, peer support, drug awareness programs, random checks and referrals. Despite these efforts, the challenge remains significant and requires national coordination, investment. We must all begin to have a second conversation about. But if you are getting 1,937 road deaths, and out of that, 77% are young people, it leaves us with the question of what is happening to our labor force if we are losing all these people at this age. The discussion of youth health and well-being would be incomplete without addressing matters pertaining to HIV and AIDS and sexual health. Notably, in 2023, 27.4% of the 17,774 new reported infections occurred among the youth population. Furthermore, the incidence rate of sexually transmitted infections increased by 32% in 2024. Of particular concern is the observed decline in testing rates amongst young people, which is a trend that requires immediate attention. Now that US aid is gone, it looks like the health authorities will have to help us do more in that regard. Emerging national discourse highlights the growing issues of overweight and obesity among Ghanaian youth, linked to evolving lifestyle patterns and nutritional habits. Recent evidence indicates an overall prevalence rate of 16.1% for overweight and 9.4% for obesity in this demographic. Among females, 15.9% are overweight. Gaming addiction is also emerging as a significant concern among young people. Mental health professionals are advocating for increased awareness and educational initiatives. Identified consequences include diminished academic performance, weakened social relationship, and negative impact on mental health. Severe cases may result in depression, anxiety, and social isolation, all of which can adversely affect the mental well-being of young people nationwide. Young people are spending more time on their mobile phones than ever before, which is increasingly linked to mental health issues. Prolonged screen use reduces real-life engagement, problem solving, and social interactions. It may lead to anxiety. MRI scans show that children addicted to screens have similar brain patterns to those with substance addiction. Teenage pregnancy is a major public health and social issue, with over 100,000 cases reported annually and a 19% prevalence among girls aged between 15 and 19. High rates of teenage pregnancies and limited access to sexual and reproductive health services expose many young people to risks such as maternal complications and disrupted education, threatening their future ambitions. Distinguished guests, members of the media, I would now like to address the topic of youth civic engagement and participation. Civic engagement encompasses the proactive involvement of citizens, especially young individuals, in activities that advance the political, social, and economic welfare of their communities and then the nation as a whole. The foundation for civic participation is established in Article 21 of the 1992 Constitution, which affirms every citizen's right to participate in governance. Civic engagement takes various forms, each contributing meaningfully to both community and national progress. For Ghanaian youth, civic engagement involves political participation, including the exercise of voting rights, involvement in policy dialogue, and serving in public office. Advocacy and activism, which entails raising awareness and mobilizing support around critical issues such as human rights, gender equality, and environmental sustainability. Community service and volunteerism manifested through initiatives like cleanups, civic education, and awareness campaigns. Nevertheless, the extent of youth participation varies significantly across regions and social groups, reflecting differences in access opportunities and motivation. Nearly half of the country's youth are actively involved in voluntary activities, demonstrating a robust culture of community involvement and social responsibility. This high level of engagement underscores the youth's commitment